Hey, sports fans. Since I uploaded this picture of my calendar on my wall to the sportsodyssey.com, several of you have been asking me, when are you going to fill it in? What's going on? Why is it an empty calendar? So, I thought today I'd give you a sneak preview of my tentative itinerary for the first 4 months, give you a look at some of the things I penciled in, and hopefully get your feedback on the events that I've planned to go to see if there's anything I missed, if there's anything you'd rather see, just even your opinions on some of the decisions I'm having a tough time making. So, with that, let's jump in. We'll go first to January. Now, January is a big month for Australia. We're going to kick things off with a Test cricket match in Sydney between India and Australia. For those of you who don't know, Test cricket is a 5-day-long cricket match that involves, competition between two countries. It's kind of what cricket was born out of, so it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup. Now, going down here, there's also a marathon down in Tasmania, the Cadbury Glass Marathon, which I'm thinking about dropping down to. I haven't fully decided yet, so let me know what you think about that one. And then I've got a couple of run-up tournaments for the Australian Open that I'm considering. There's a tournament in Sydney, as well as one in Auckland. And I'm trying to think about whether it's good to stay in Sydney where the cricket match was, or maybe jump over to New Zealand and check out a different country and see what tennis is like there and see the run-up to the Australian Open, which is the following week in Melbourne. This is the major reason that I'm going to Australia, to check out the Australian Open out there. It goes on for a couple of weeks. And then I'll be headed over to India, where I'm still trying to fill in what to do. I've got some ideas, and I'm thinking about potentially field hockey or squash or badminton, some of those sports that are bigger in India and not big as in other places. And, the Super Bowl is on February 5th, but I'm going to be the other side of the world. So I might try and find an interesting place to watch it, maybe an interesting country or an interesting city. If you have ideas about that, let me know. And then going on, there's the European Golf Tour has a Dubai tournament at the sort of the middle point of February that I'm planning on going to right before heading to WTA tournament in Qatar. As many of you may have heard, there's the 2022 World Cup is in Qatar. That'd be cool to check out sports fans there and see what they're like, and see what kind of fans watch tennis in the desert as well as golf in the desert. There's also actually the Olympic qualifiers for field hockey in New Delhi at around the same time, which I'm considering about staying in India for or going back to India for. Let me know what you think about that. I know field hockey isn't big in the western part of the world, but certainly big in certain countries like India and Germany. So let me know what you think there. And then right here, I'm pretty excited about this. The kickoff to the Super 15 rugby season in South Africa, in Johannesburg and Pretoria. I'm actually figuring out where to go right now and maybe see some soccer, since the World Cup tournament was pretty cool over there in Australia, or South Africa, excuse me. So trying to figure out what to do there before flying all the way back to the United States for, that's right, Duke UNC. Big matchup, end of the regular season. Cameron Crazies, I don't know what else to say. It's going to be a great, great game. We'll see what tickets are like. I bet they're going to be thousands of dollars. But just the experience of being on Duke's campus then should be really cool, before heading down to the ACC tournament in Atlanta right after that. So that should be pretty cool. And then, the next major thing I'm interested in is spring training baseball in either Arizona or Florida. I think Arizona is where I'm going to head up. But there's, I'm open to suggestions either way. Thinking about going towards the end of the season, since they get more of the regulars playing, and that could be pretty cool. And then, towards the end of March, we got the end of the regular, or end of the playoff season for college basketball, the Final Four in New Orleans. And there's also, just soon after that, the Frozen Four in Tampa, Florida for the end of the college hockey season. But there's also the Masters in Augusta that weekend, which, as many of you may know, is the hardest sports ticket to get. So I'm kind of torn between those two. Let me know what you think. A little bit more hockey on the schedule. The Women's World's Championship in Burlington, Vermont, the week of the 8th of April. That should be pretty interesting. And a lot of great countries participate. The USA won over Canada in overtime last year. Pretty good matchup. And then there's the Boston Marathon on April 16th. Patriot Day in Boston. The whole city basically stops to watch. Great, great experience. And don't want to miss that one. And there's also a sailing race in the America's Cup Series that week. That's to be determined. So going to wait and see what's going on there and determine if it's somewhere I can get to and it's something worth watching. But I'm also really excited about something most of you have probably never heard of. It's called the Little 500. It's in at the University of Indiana. It's a cycling tournament. It's a collegiate level cycling tournament, but they get 25,000 people to come for the men's and women's race. And it raises funds for IU students, and a pretty cool experience. I'm excited about that. And then down here at the end of April, we have the NFL Draft and the Penn Relays, both the same weekend, one in New York, one in Philly. Great track tournament going back to, years and years ago. And then the NFL Draft, which, despite being something for athletes, has become a big spectator sport in recent years. So that's kind of a look at what January through April might look like. As you can see, there's some tentative decisions that I still need to make. And I would love to hear your feedback on the events that I've listed and others that I may not have thought of. So that's the calendar. And remember, if you want to see more, you can always go to thesportsodyssey.com.